What's going on, everybody? Hope you are having a wonderful week so far. Please hit subscribe. Please share it with everybody. As I said before, there may be some ads on this podcast. If you don't want to listen to them, just skip forward. And if you do, then it just means that the podcast might starting to hopefully generate some cash for us to then just make the podcast better for everybody. Still haven't worked out if we're doing an ad-free version. I will let you know when that happens. And if this podcast doesn't have any ads, then we're all winning. So without further ado, this week's podcast is with Westend. Westend has been around for a few years. I've been watching him from afar. His music is really, really well produced music. He does extremely well streaming, and I started talking to him during COVID. I was really interested with what he was doing with his Discord, and he started like a kind of a production school, or production. I'd like to say more so community, where he helps producers learn how to produce. And it was just really interesting. So I was kind of like really intrigued and picked his brains a lot, and he helped me out a lot with Discord during COVID. And I really like the guy. He's really, really nice and really down to earth. He's also hilarious on Twitter. He dropped me a text and asked to come on. So I was like, yeah, like I'd love to have a conversation with him. We had a really good conversation. I loved it. So I'm just going to stop blabbering on and let you guys listen. So without further ado, Westend. Mr. Westend, what's cooking?
What's cooking? Not much, man. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, man. How's New York right now?
It's good. It's I live on the 23rd floor, so I can I don't face Manhattan. I face kind of the Bronx and Queens a bit, so I get a good angle. It's very gloomy right now. Very just gray skies.
Do you live in Brooklyn?
No, I live in Long Island City.
Oh, okay.
Which,
cool.
You know what that is? Or
Yeah.
Whenever I tell people I live in Long Island City, they think I live in Long Island, which is totally different.
Yeah.
So for the people who don't know, Long Island is like the suburbs like that extend out of New York. Long Island City is in right across from Manhattan on the east side. So yeah, that's where I live.
Dope, man. Nice. I used to live in Brooklyn. So
I remember you said you lived there for like, what is it, like 8 months, a year or so?
4 or 5 months, something like that. I'd move back. I'd move back tomorrow. I love it.
You would move back tomorrow. Yeah, I mean, this is where I'm from. Like I've lived here my whole life, except I went away to college for 4 years. I went to North Carolina. So I live in like a small, I'm sure you played in Durham before or no?
No, but I know North Carolina. UNC. Did you go to UNC?
Duke. Rival school.
Or the rival school. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. The smarty pants, the Duke.
I was gonna say, isn't Duke like a really good university?
It's up there. And I'm a DJ now, so look how that turned out.
What did you do at uni?
So yeah, you don't pick like your major until like your second year.
Yeah.
So I kind of just went like liberal arts, like just let's go to college, let's get a degree.
Yeah.
I ended up studying public policy, which is like so random. The only reason I picked public policy was because there was like a big school there, and it was like I knew I wasn't gonna do anything in the government. That was never like my plan, but it was more of like you could go into consulting, you could go into finance, you could go into tech afterwards.
It's very broad.
So yeah, I picked that. Yeah, exactly. It's a broad kind of skill set.
Do you regret going to university now?
No, I don't. I was very blessed that my family paid for me to go there, and like I didn't have to take out any like loans, or I don't have any debt right now.
Yeah.
I'm sure if I had, and it's an expensive school, so I'm sure if I had a lot of debt, I would regret it.
Yeah.
But no, I think like even like for like DJing and stuff, like I DJ'd and produced like the whole time while I was there. And especially in North Carolina, like there wasn't really much of an electronic music scene. I had to play pretty much like open format.
Yeah.
A lot of country not like country, but like country pop stuff, like just like terrible things for me personally. Um, and but yeah, no, like the whole experience, the thing with for me about university was like it really taught me how to like work hard, play hard, which is like a mentality I kind of keep with me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because I really think even just like being a DJ and producer, the people that rise to the top are the ones that work really, really fucking hard.
Yeah,
It's
100%.
there's a lot going on behind the scenes. It's not just, oh, make some music, go play shows. It's I mean, you obviously know there's so much more to it. So I really valued that kind of like how intense it was when I went to school there.
Yeah.
But I don't remember one thing that I learned from my major. Like I actually don't remember anything. It's pretty bad.
It's always the crazy thing about school, right? As soon as you leave, it's like it's just everything. Like anything that we actually don't give a fuck about, we just forget. And our brains just
Yeah.
like algebra. Can you remember doing that at school?
No, I can only do addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Anything else at this point, even square roots I mean, I can probably do them, but I think about this all the time. The one thing I do think that is very valuable is history. I feel like that you don't forget as easily. Because I mean, obviously you forget like details and stuff, but I feel like out of all the sciences, I remember history the most.
Yeah, I think it also depends what the school's teaching you.
And how they're teaching you to.
Yeah, and like what actual history, because I'm sure that like what we teach in England history is different to American history.
Yeah. Like I kind of know how America like went down like from 1776 to like now.
Yeah.
Like there's some fuzzy parts, but like, I know the ride of it. But yeah, like the English history, like goes
yeah,
way over my
we don't
fucking
get
head.
taught about like all the monstrosities we caused over the world, which we should be taught about.
Of course not.
We get taught about like Henry VIII and how we like beat the Germans.
Yeah, we definitely get over here in the US. We definitely don't forget that we won the Revolutionary War. That's definitely drilled into our heads over here.
Yeah, we still.
Did you go to university or no?
No. I tapped out as soon as I possibly could. Really, there's a thing called college in the UK, which is almost high school in America. So you can either stay, or it's 16 to 18. So you can either quit everything. Well, not nowadays. Nowadays you can't. But when I was there, you used to be able to quit at 16 if you wanted and go get a job, go do whatever you wanted. Or you could.
But are you an adult at 16, or you just don't have to go to school?
You don't have to go to school. You can go work.
Yeah, but got it.
You can sign up to the army at 16 as well. I don't think you can go to the army, but they then put you through education until you're 17 or 18, and then you can go. Something like that, I think.
Yeah. And you can drink at 18, right? That's the drinking law? Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And then 16 to 18, you can either, quit school, go do your own thing. You can either stay on at school, which is we would call sixth form, which is like you just go do a multiple of different subjects to then take you to university, or you can go to a place called college, and college is like they provide a lot more, like it's like what you would class as like a mini major in your degree. So it's like I just did music technology for 2 years, and that I could then go to university and do something in music if I wanted. But yeah, I didn't.
Is that like you're in like a studio and stuff kind of, or you're learning how to like mic up a kick drum and things like that?
Yeah. So it's like super broad. It's like you learn about synthesis, you learn about live recording, you learn about studio desks, you learn about some like theory, some history. To be fair, it was actually really good. I loved it. It was fun.
I can relate to that because like when I was in high school, there was a class called Digital Music Lab. So funny enough, the high school I went to is like a really big public school in New York, and there's a few public schools that the only way you get in, so this is just for high school, so 8th, 9th, 10th, or no, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade we have here. And the only way you get in is by taking this test. And if you score like above a certain number, you'll qualify. Like the best school was like Stuyvesant, so you had to get over like 530, and if you get that, you get in. It doesn't matter if you were like a terrible student before that or like your work ethic
Yeah.
or anything like that. It was just like, so it was like an interesting school. It was like around 3,000 kids in this high school. And it's a really famous like high school. It's called Bronx Science. There's a lot of like Nobel Prize winners that went there. I remember like a fun fact was like we had more than like the country of Spain. Like it's a lot of people like that
That's
studied like
crazy.
nuclear science back in the day. And one of the guys that went there is Robert Moog, who made
Okay.
the Moog
No way.
synthesizer.
That's crazy.
Yeah, he's like probably the coolest alumni for me that went there. And so his daughter donated this like lab, and was basically a classroom with like 30 iMacs and like little Novation like MIDI keyboards, and like they all had like a copy of Reason on it,
Yeah.
like Reason 4. And so like there was a class you could take, and I remember the teacher, Mr. De Silva, it would kind of run through like what you said, like a little bit of music theory, a lot of like how synthesizers work. So like how does a filter work? How does an envelope work? What are the different waveforms? Blah blah blah. And then like once you kind of learn like the basics of that and kind of like how to use the program, like how to use a sequencer and all this stuff, we would just make beats all day. It was like the best class.
That's so dope.
So that's kind of how I got. That wasn't like my initial like entry point into electronic music or like DJing really, but like that's kind of how I got my hands on like working on the computer making music, and I kind of got hooked from there. So like I think it's really important to have those like opportunities for kids to like hands-on play with music and you know,
I totally
digital
agree.
music
I think
especially.
I spoke about this quite a bit on the podcast, but it's like a lot of school is not about being creative. A lot of school is just doing what the curriculum tells you have to do, and just to kind of, it's a memory test really. There's like routine, like it's really good to get into the routine, but it's like you're also a kid, like you should definitely be able to live your life and like not have to worry about doing you obviously need to do maths and your native language, whatever that is, but like there's also a lot of things that you're kind of made to do that really just doesn't inspire people. And like when you're a kid, you love, like when you're a baby, you just, all you want to do is learn. When you're a toddler, all you want to do is learn. When you're in like primary school, it's like all you want to do is learn. And then you get to like starting to become an adult, and you're like getting taught stuff that you don't give a fuck about. And you're just like, this is pointless. We're all just like wasting our time. And I think there's so many people that it fits really well with, but then there's also so many people that it just doesn't fit well with, and they need to be doing creative shit.
Yeah, I think it's always interesting to think about like the amount of people like, I mean it's like kind of like a philosophical question, but there's probably so many people that would be like creative geniuses in whatever field they would have been, like painting or music or whatever, but just because they either never got like exposed to it enough or never had the chance to try it out. Yeah, I think it's interesting thinking now because like I haven't been in like a school setting in a while. I could probably ask like a younger nephew or niece or something, but like I wonder if like they like updated kind of all the like arts and creative stuff in school. Like I wonder if they have like, you know, if like painting class is now like graphic design and like Photoshop, and you know, they had like photography and stuff when I was there, and like this was like kind of cutting edge. But you know, I couldn't imagine like a school teaching like music without having some electronic music component.
It's really weird because when I was there, my music, like I knew I wanted to do music from like the age of 9. So I was going into school wanting to do that. But like my music teacher, or one of my music teachers at my high school, like told me that like electronic music is not a genre and I'll never have a career out of it. So it's like, fuck you.
Fuck you. Exactly.
But it's very, I don't know. The whole teacher thing's weird. Really, it's weird to me.
Can you play an instrument? Or
I can kind of play the piano, but not well.
Dude, that's like the biggest thing for my imposter syndrome is like I'm like when it comes to classical, not classical music and like Beethoven, but just classical music training.
Yeah,
my skill set's like pretty bad. Like you know, I my music theory knowledge, I can get away with it, and it's fine. And luckily, the kind of music I make doesn't require too much like theory. But like I've been thinking about this recently, is like going and finding a piano teacher and just you know, not even saying that like I'm like a producer and like this is what I know and what I don't know, and just being like, okay, teach me how to play the
Mm,
piano, teach me how to, you know, play chords and understand music theory better. And because like I feel like especially as producers, you get to a point where you can like make, you know, you have some success and you can make a lot of songs easily, but like you don't challenge yourself to like really go to the next level,
yeah.
and you can get like super comfortable like with your samples and everything. And so I don't know, I think it would be fun to kind of like take on the challenge, learn piano, and I'm sure it would help my productions like a ton.
Mate, it will be an absolute game changer for you.
I know, I
And
gotta do it.
like not your productions are fucking tight. Like they're one of the like in your genre, like sonically for me, like you have the tightest productions in that way. Like you have this like I've always said
Such
it.
a horny way to describe it, so tight.
But it is, it's just like everything about it is just so wellly done, if that makes sense. Like
Thank you.
engineered very well. And that is just it's an art in its own, and I will my sound will never be like that, if you know what I mean, because yours is it's just very you and it's great. But yeah, I used to learn to play the piano, and I can't play the piano. Like if there was a pianist here sat next to me, I would be like 100% I cannot play the piano. But like
Yeah.
I kind of can, but I I'm not like good, if that makes sense. So I get my way around, but I've tried to have lessons for years and years and years, and I've gone to so many teachers. And I don't want somebody like I know you have to learn the basics, of course you do, but it's like
Yeah.
for me to learn the piano again, I have to forget everything I've taught myself, which is never going to happen. So I need a teacher that can be like, right, this is what we're going to do. Like, I'm going to play this, you play this back to me. Or like, do this, do that. Whereas I just haven't found that right teacher yet. Because a lot of the teachers that I've came across are like they want to teach you how to classically play. And it's like, well, I've been playing the piano for 15 years, kind of, in my own way. For me to unlearn that way and then do it how you want to do it is just, it's going to be impossible. It's pointless. And then I get to the point where I'm like, fuck this. It's just not, it's
And
not doable.
that's my concern for me, is like it's not going to connect, or I'm going to be like I already know some of this, like but like, you know, you really, that's why I think it's like when you learn a skill like that, it's almost easier to not know anything,
Yeah.
because like then you're kind of like ingesting it in the proper way versus, you know, I'm thinking that there's probably bad habits, so to speak, that, you know,
Yeah.
you've developed, or I have too. It's just not really like a bad habit. It's just like to get by, and what we're doing. I think it'd be sick if it was like a music producer, like an electronic music producer, to teach you piano, because then it's like they kind of understand the mindset that you're
Totally.
approaching it from, versus like, yeah, I'm not just going to like the piano to
Yeah.
jazz out or whatever. It's like there's a purpose to this. But I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm gonna find someone, and I'll keep you updated
Yeah,
on
please
I'll
do.
send you
'Cause
little videos of me
yeah, please
playing
do. I
jingles and stuff.
One of my really good friends, a guy called Mitch Jones, he work I work or he works we work together quite a lot. He's helping me out with the project at the moment, and we kind of write for other people together. And he's like insane pianist. Like he went to boarding school from the age of 12 to practice the piano. So like he was playing from the age of 12 to 18. He was playing like 6 hours a day. So like
Wow.
he's legit unbelievable at the piano. Like I can literally be like, mate, I want something like this, this, and this, and he'd like literally play it straight away. And
Those people always impress me so much.
yeah,
That can
and
like listen to something and just like jam it out. I'm like, wow, that's crazy.
yeah, and he'll listen to a vocal and he'll be like, oh, it's in this key. He won't even like, it won't even be like, you know, like when you're trying to work out a key. I don't know. For me, it is anyway. It's like, okay, is it that note? Oh no, it's near that note, but it's that note. Like he's like, oh yeah, it's in this key. Blah blah blah. Played, and like here's like counter melodies, and here's the fifths and the seventh and all of that. And I'm just like, but also he's a sick producer as well. But you've got, for me, to be that good at something, it's like you have to put the time in. The reason you're good at producing and engineering is because you put the time in. If you put the time in to being a pianist, you'd be just as good as a pianist as you are a producer and engineer.
Yeah, I think this brings up a super interesting conversation that I often think about, which is that I think there's this idea that as like a music producer, you have to be good at everything, kind of.
Yeah.
Especially as like it's funny because it's especially as like an amateur producer, like let's say like a bedroom producer.
Yeah.
You know, you have to make the whole song, you have to songwrite it, you have to write all the melodies. You know, you should make all the synths and sound design, mix it, master it. And I think I have this like shame that if I'm not really good at something, that it like takes away from me as a producer. But generally speaking, like you said, like it makes more sense to kind of, you know, hammer down what you're good at and not necessarily try to expand to everything. But yeah, it's something I feel like a lot of producers deal with, which is that, you know, it's hard to be like super good music theory wise and also be really good at getting the mix super tight. Like those are two things that are totally separate that you would have to put, you know, thousands of hours in each to kind of excel at. And that's why when you have people that are just amazing at both, like those guys are just weapons in the studio. And those are the guys that are often like producing for pop artists and you know, doing not post production, but just production for other people, because it's like they're just so good at what they do.
But a lot of them aren't artists themselves.
That's the one thing. Sometimes I notice that there's people that I know that they're really good musicians and they're like so like they can write the most incredible chord progressions and really just like create all this emotion. But then when I listen to their production, sometimes I'm not as impressed because, you know, it doesn't either have that like edge to it or that vibe. And that's like a totally different thing that you can't really, you know, I mean, you can teach it and learn it a bit, but it's kind of like something that's just your tastes and interests all accumulated into like you. And even if you suck in music theory, if you have a sick vibe, it doesn't really matter in my opinion. That's the sexy thing people want.
Yeah, it's like how many like can Beyonce play the piano and produce a fucking great record? No, but she can sing like fucking the queen of whatever. Same with Adele. I think Adele can actually play the piano, but like
she probably could rip it, to be honest.
Yeah, but like you only need one thing that you're really good at. And
it's true.
And then you can make the most of it. Or you can create a team around you that will then like elevate everything else, right? So if you can make insane records, but you're really shit at social media or marketing yourself and you're slow, like you're still making a fucking great product. So it doesn't matter. If the product at the end of it is really good, unless you're an absolute cunt, you're good.
I agree. I think it's kind of like it's like a company, you know, it's like you have different departments. Everyone's doing their own job. But I think it took me a while to kind of break out of that mentality of like, oh, I have to do everything myself.
Yeah.
And I think people think that they're doing, you know, I think people that do really just kind of have their studio and that's nothing goes to anyone else and they do it all themselves. You know, I think there's a misconception, you know, especially like, you know, I use a lot of writers now for vocals, for example. And sometimes I'm like, damn, maybe I should like write my own lyrics and whatever. Like you know, now I have access to all these writers and people that are singers. It's like before I was like using sample packs where someone else would write the samples, and it's like it's the kind of same thing where, you know, you can always go down that rabbit hole. I think Diplo had a joke about like it was like a tweet about something like I didn't want to use samples, so I got real drums, and it's like I wanted to make the drums myself, so I killed a goat and made goat skin drums. Like, I'm completely butchering this joke, but like the concept is like you can always be like go one level further. But I think it's more of like an artist insecurity that like once you kind of break through, your potential is so much higher because you're not like, oh, I have to do everything. I can find someone who's really good at this, and you know they can help make this song the best it can possibly be, rather than my ego saying like, oh, I got to do everything all by myself.
I agree.
That's my rant.
No, I agree with you. I think it's also like it's actually like bringing it like personal. It's like taking out the ego out of it, and it's like, okay, I'm actually shit at this. So who can I get that's better at me to do it? Like, for me, like, my whole goal is to write the best possible music I can make. And I'm not the best writer in the world, and I'm not the best producer in the world, and I'm not the best at anything realistically in the world. So who can I get involved that wants to get involved that can help me make the best record? And that's, for me, that's just like taking out a huge amount of ego, really, and just being like, I'm not, just holding my hands up and going, I'm actually not good at this, so let's get somebody else to do it.
Yeah, it's like it's very vulnerable, kind of. You have to like, yeah, face that ego and like kind of admit to yourself that maybe you aren't the best at this. And you know, one thing I've noticed now is that I find myself wanting to collaborate a lot more, especially like in recent years, than I used to. Like I used to, and I think most people would relate that are, you know, artists and music producers, that, you know, you either don't know that many people to collaborate with, or you're really just like learning. So it's a very like solitary kind of activity. But I really think that music is like supposed to be collaborative in a sense. Obviously there can be like a very deep thing from like writing, you know, on your own as well. But I find myself having a lot more fun just like working with people. Even if it doesn't mean that the song is necessarily like a collaboration,
Totally.
but just like feedbacking on stuff, it's like you're always, I think, going to get a better product if you kind of work with other people on it. So that's something I think I'm going to do a lot more of going forward.
I totally agree. I think it's just having people around you in a creative. Sometimes you just need to be creative by yourself, and you just need to be like, you know what, I'm going to write till 4 o'clock in the morning, and just have that for you. Right. But I think also it's like it's a very isolating thing to do, what we do. And I don't think it's the same in pop music. I don't think it's the same in hip hop. I don't think it's the same in a lot of other genres. It's in electronic dance, like house, techno, drum and bass, like all of those kind of subgenres. I think it's a very like isolating situation to be in. And a lot of people were just like a laptop and headphones, or a laptop and speakers. And the outside world isn't really kind of taking a part of it. Whereas I think, if you can, I think the way our industry is going way more commercialized, and like your streams can be as high as some pop records, right? And so it's like, well, now we're in the commercial world, so now we can bring people in that, because people are interested, right? Beforehand, if you would get like 5,000 streams, or like 200, if you had, if 50 buys on Beatport, like no one gave a fuck, right? But now it's like, well, there is a business in the electronic industry outside of performing. So it's like, it's opened the doors to more people wanting to get involved in it. And I think a lot of artists were singers potentially, have seen like, wow, there's actually a really easy way to make a living out of the electronic music world.
Are you about to say a fuck ton of money or no?
You can, if you're good and you make.
I thought that was on the tip of your lips, right?
No, but like,
ton of money is gonna come out.
No, well, I'm yet to make that, so who knows? But someone like, has. Yeah, definitely. But like, it's easy to DJ. DJing's easy now. It's not hard. You don't have to go to a fucking weird vinyl record shop to buy some vinyl and get looked at by a bunch of vinyl snobs and check out.
I'm going to put that as a quote. DJing is easy. Will Clarke.
DJing is fucking easy. Like,
it is easy. It's very easy.
The like technical side of DJing is easy. Like, being a good DJ is a different situation, but like, DJing is easy. So like, for singers that are like just singers, and they're not making money from their songs, because it's like, it's hard to make really good money from being a singer. They can't really perform because they can't really sell tickets, because they haven't had a big record. But like, as a DJ, is like, you can feature on a DJ's record, or you can make an electronic record, or get a producer to write an electronic record. You sing on it, and then you can become a DJ and potentially sing. Like, it's just it's way easier than what it used to be. So I think like, I think that whole world is the electronic music world is coming together with the pop world way closer, like like I guess like look at some of the samples you've used, right? That some of them are old pop records, and like there's no one saying that you couldn't like make your own pop record and then just use that as a sample and then turn it into a dance record.
Yeah, I think I agree with you with everything on that. Especially like I think it's interesting with like the singers that, you know, because you totally hit the nail on the head there that like you're not going to get paid a lot just, you know, from singing, which is unfortunate because I feel like singers and songwriters get overlooked a ton in this industry.
Yeah.
And you know what they bring to the table is like honestly very so important and just like so talented. But I think it's interesting because I feel like a lot of times people take that route where they maybe go the more like DJ route.
Yeah.
And then, you know, it's like it's not really satisfying maybe their original desire. Like if you really wanted to be like a singer or like a pop star, for example, and you became a fucking DJ, like you'll be disappointed kind of quickly because,
Yeah.
you know, I think you'll realize that it's not what it is kind of in that way.
Mm-hmm.
And like,
yeah,
you know, it's almost like settling a little bit. But at the end of the day, bills need to get paid and, you know, sacrifice needs to be made to be able to just like work in this industry and work on music for a living. I think is a blessing for most people, and I think a lot of people do it any way they can.
Yeah. Have you ever settled?
But yeah, have I ever settled?
Yeah.
No, I've never. I mean, I think in like smaller decisions, like you have to, of course, like in little decisions, right? Like it could be taking a gig, for example, versus not. You know, there's tons of times like I think a most like probably a really common thing for DJs is like, you know, thinking you're worth more for something, but taking it for another opportunity, right? Like maybe it's a good look or you think it's like a good networking thing. So I think there's like settling with that. One thing I've been thinking about recently, which I find interesting, is that once you've kind of like, and I feel like a lot of people aren't going to relate to this, but like this lifestyle is incredible, being a DJ and being a producer, and it's like absolutely like, you know, I've never been happier in my entire life than like I have been in the last like year or two, and you know, it's a really hard thing to do, but I love it so much, and it's like I see why people that have been around for a really long time, like Tiesto, for example, why they pivot and kind of have adapted to, you know, like Tiesto like used to make trance, and now he's a pop star pretty much. He makes commercial dance music, and I see why people, and this is maybe not. I'm putting thoughts in my mind of how they think, but I see why people kind of do whatever they can to stay relevant and stay successful because it is such an amazing thing to do, to DJ for a living. And so I can kind of like relate to that for people. While before I was like kind of like, oh, why would you do that? You know, I can see why people kind of like adapt to the times, if that makes sense.
I totally agree with you. I also think like as you get older into the industry and you kind of start spending more time in the industry and you kind of see the rise and the fall of people around you, and the people that evolve stay around and the people that don't. And I think it's just like anything in business, right? It's not you have to evolve, otherwise you kind of get left behind. And Tiesto, David Guetta, two of the people. Guetta.
The way you say it is so funny.
Yeah, Born Dirty literally has a go at me every time, and I just do it just to annoy him.
Okay, people keep it like that.
Yeah, Guetta, deal with it, French people. Like those two, whether you like their music or not, like they are literally the biggest in the world. Calvin, right? Like maybe not so much Calvin because Calvin's always been pop, but in the dance music realm. But like Tiesto and Guetta weren't at all. They were not pop. They were big, but they weren't pop, and now they are pop. But I think like as they get older, you get older and you have different needs, right? And let's be honest, they also need to earn money, and they want to carry on doing what they're doing and earn as much money as possible. So you also have huge teams when you're that big, if you know what I mean. You have to put money on the table or food on the table for a lot of people. So it's like, what does make the best money? How can they make the most money and also still tour 4 or 5 days a week if they want? If you know what I mean. Tiesto still or I don't know if he still tours, but he's touring crazy amounts. And you're just like, God knows how old he is, but like that's hustling to be at his age and still be doing it.
Yeah, I think especially now that like I kind of like understand a little bit of how this industry works, you get respect. You get a different level of respect for those people that you may not have had before, because you can't really like relate to it as much, just on like the musical side of things, but just on like the work ethic side. It kind of goes back to what I was saying before. It's like it's a lot of fucking work, and it's just, it can be like a really difficult job, but it's also so rewarding. Like, you know, I used to work at a tech company where I would go in and, you know, get on Excel and whatever all day and then go home. And now being able to like work for myself kind of, and like there's tons of ways you can own your own business. It doesn't have to be music, but just like I want to keep that forever. Like I never want that to kind of go away. And so I have that drive and that motivation to keep that going forever, you know.
You've done that. Like I've watched you from afar though, and from especially during COVID, like you started your like school that you whatever you I don't know if you call it a school, but I just called it a school. But like
Westend University, baby.
Yeah, baby. Like you started that, and that is a great revenue income to make sure that you don't have to do that as well. You don't have to go back to that full-time job if you don't want, if you know what I mean. Was that why you started it?
No, I originally started it. I can give you like a little bit of the backstory. It was mostly out of necessity because pandemic hits and no more gigs, right? I was getting paid pretty dog shit before that anyways. And I was, you know, the amount of money I made in a year was not enough to sustain me. I was living at home before that. I was, you know, I moved back in with like my parents, and I was just, it was kind of like I'm taking these years to like try to make this happen. So pandemic hits, and I'm like, all right, I need some money because I have no money right now. And I got unemployment, which was like nice for a bit. The US was definitely cranking out those bills for a few months. It was pretty nice, but someone hit me up, this producer Moose, actually, Michael Musili, who I later hired to work for me as the coach. But he hit me up. He's like, "Oh, are you doing like lessons, like a Zoom lesson where I could like learn from you about how to make music?" And I was like, "I've never done one of those before, but you know, I'll give it a shot." And I think I was charging like $50 an hour or something, like pretty affordable, I would say, for like an hour of time. And I started like, I put a post up on my Instagram. I dressed up in a suit and I like put on glasses, and I was like, "School's in session, guys. Like, hit me up if you want to book one-on-one sessions." And it kind of like, for me at the time, it like blew up. Like I was doing, you know, maybe 3 to 4 hours a day, 5 days a week.
Wow.
People were, there was a huge interest, I think, because everyone's home and they want to get better, and, you know, they had all this money. So I kind of did that for a year, and I was like, it got to the point where I lost a little bit of excitement in it. I was like, "Oh, I'm really good at this. I'm really good at teaching and explaining and helping people with their music." And gigs started to come back a little bit. The end was in sight for the pandemic. So I was like, I'm going to stop this for a bit, because I also like wasn't able to write my own music because I was just listening to other people's music all day. So it was kind of like fucking with my head too. So I stopped for a few months. This was in 2021. And I actually got a message, like a really long Instagram message from this guy in Denmark. And it was basically about like a collaboration proposal to create this Discord community where, you know, I think he saw a YouTube video I did, like a tutorial that I put out. And he was like, "I really like your tutorial. I'm in a community for this, for like Minimal House." It was run by a British producer, actually. I forgot who it was. It wasn't like Dimish. It was like some some guy that like runs with like Toman and like
Okay.
those people.
Yeah.
Um, and he had his own Discord. So we were like, okay, why don't we make this community where people pay a monthly fee and you're going to get all of this access to all these music production tutorials.
Yeah.
You'll also get access to like feedback on your music. It's going to be like this whole platform where people can kind of get in
Yeah.
and it'll be like a community they can learn. And so I was like, sometimes like give you a project proposal. You're like, this is cool, but I really don't have time, and
Yeah.
it's gonna be so much work. But I was like, okay, let's try this out. I recorded like 10 hours of like tutorials like beforehand. He dealt with like setting up this Discord and stuff. Sorry, I'm a little congested,
No
so
worries. So good.
a little nasally right now. But yeah, basically we launched in July of 2021. The first day we got like 30 people to sign up, which was like, for me, that was like a huge win. I was like, wow, like one day 30 people paying a monthly fee. And then yeah, it just kept growing and growing from there. I think we're now at around 500 members in our community.
That's amazing.
Which was it's amazing. And if for people that are listening, it's called Kick and Bass. If you go kick-bass.com, it's pretty much like we're trying to make it like the place that if you're into like house music and you're a producer into house music and like you want a community of people to like grow with and learn with and get feedback on your music and like all these things. We do contests and remix contests, all this stuff. It's like that's the place to be, and that's like our kind of goal. So yeah, like it was set up kind of out of just like chance, so to speak. But now, like looking back, I'm like, I feel like producers and artists, they don't they think that their only revenue stream can be touring, music royalties, and then like maybe sell some t-shirts on their website.
Yep.
And I feel like it's so limiting, and it's like it puts you in a box. And like once you start thinking about business ventures that aren't just that, like a whole world opens up for you.
I totally agree. I'm all for that. And I think I'd like to get your opinion. Do you think it's because the whole of the industry is like all you have to do is get amazing at music and then you'll become famous and then you'll make a shit ton of money? Like rather than go, wait, how is this sustainable? And how do we sustainably do this for the rest of our lives, right? Like I don't know like your finances, but like if you've got a business that's still in music that allows you to keep the bills, the lights on, keep food on the table, and you want to go and do like 2-3 months of just writing and you don't have to tour, then you're in the best position to be because you've got an income coming in. You don't have to go to work every single day. You're not really expected to do too much on that project. So it's like, then you can just concentrate on actually being the artist. And I think that is the dream, right? For, I don't know, maybe it's not, but it's like have an endless supply of money in your account and you can just do what the fuck you want, right? But like by having a side business in music, you're kind of creating that in a, not obviously not an endless supply of money, but like you're giving yourself freedom to then go and be the artist you want.
Yeah, I think time is the most important thing as an artist.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that for a while, but it's time to write music, time to be inspired. And so giving yourself time or buying yourself time makes your artist project better. I used to watch like a show like Shark Tank. And like, I would be like, oh, I just need to come up with like some crazy contraption or whatever. And then I'll just, that'll be my side business and I'll get rich doing that and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, people always say like, go into business with like what you know best. And like, now I'm like, oh, well, I know best what it's like to be a producer and like what a producer wants because I've done it for 10 years. And so, even if Westend dies out tomorrow and I can't get booked for any more shows and no one streams my music, like I'd probably create a new artist project and try to do that. But regardless of that, I would, do something in like the music education space because I've already done a bit of it and I know it. I think what you said before about whether like why it's the case that like people think that their money just has to come from touring and royalties. I don't know. I think it's like a lot of it is like getting good management that's going to help think about like your future and like setting you up with something that's not just like, let's just tour a lot right now because maybe you're a hot artist and it's going to work, which is like definitely a strategy to take. But it's like, you know, I've heard like my management talk about like catalogs, for example, like owning your music and owning your masters so that one day you could potentially sell that off and, you know, be set, or you're just getting in residual income. I think Calvin Harris sold his, like, I mean, he's a crazy example, but I think he sold his publishing catalog for like $300 million or something.
155 million he sold his catalog.
Half of that.
It's still a fuck ton of money.
It's yeah, that's, you're set forever. Obviously that's like the extreme example, but
yeah, but there's,
you know, I think like
our music doesn't go to that level, right? So it's like, okay, you scale down from that, it's still a shit ton of money for us. Like if you scale down to what our levels is, like let's say somebody offered you 2 million, 3 million. It's like it's also like
it's the lottery right there.
It's not that's of your past catalog. So that doesn't necessarily mean anything in the future is gonna get.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, so a lot of it is past, it's not future. Sometimes it's for the life. It depends on the deal, but a lot of these deals are like past catalogs. So it's everything in the future is still getting, that can be sold again. So but it's also, it's like, what can you, on the business side of things, right? It's like, what can you do with an injection of cash of that much money to then create generational wealth? And how can you, like, let's say, for instance, somebody gave you 5 million. Like, what could you do with that 5 million to then go and build something else that creates 50 million, 100 million, and then it's completely, that's for me, that's the thing with what everyone's doing with their selling their catalog, or the bigger guys are selling their catalog. It's not about being rich. It's about what can you do with that money. And yes, they probably would have made more money over 10 years or 50 years of their music being like slowly throughout but they're not getting an injection of cash of that much to then go and invest in other things.
Yeah, I think there's definitely like, you have to have a really good reason to do that, where you're probably, you know, setting your family up or something like that. I do think that because like the way a lot of people stumble into, especially in house and techno and electronic music in general, the way they stumble into a position of like being an artist, like no one teaches you these things. No one tells you how to, like, you know, even just in life, like no one really, like, this goes back to the school stuff. It's like, I never learned finance stuff in school. Exactly, I never learned how to do my taxes, or how much should I be putting in to my retirement account every year. And it gets even more complicated when you work for yourself, because there's like, there's not like a structure to it as much. I do think like for any artists that are listening, like, you know, try to think of other ways to supplement your income, because a lot of the guys that you may be looking up to, you may think that like, oh, they're just playing all these festivals and getting like paid and that's it. But most of the time it's actually, there's a ton of other business going on behind the scenes. You know, like for me, like I'm thinking like 10 years from now, it's like, I want to be in like management too. Like I want to help like manage other artists' careers and stuff, and still be an artist, and, you know, and own a label soon, and all this stuff. So it's like, just, I would just say like, challenge the status quo of how you think things are running, and take that risk, you know, even if it's just, and the cool thing is I see a lot of people doing now, like music production lessons and coaching and stuff. And I think it's a great business. When I started it, I was like, there's no way anyone's going to pay this much. And you'd be so surprised the amount of fans and people that, you know, want to support you and pay for things. It's like, that's one thing I've just learned in this business, is like, never, there's a quote for this and I can't remember, but never like judge people's like wallet size. You know, people are always down to support and invest in things like this. So
yeah, I agree. I think it's towards coming out of the pandemic, I had a Patreon. One of the guys from Patreon in the UK hit me up and was like, look, we want to get you on Patreon. Like, would you be down? And I've always been like really weirded out by like asking fans for money, if that makes sense. It's like always, I
feel like I've heard about you say this in another podcast episode or something like that.
Yeah, and it's always like a weird concept to me, that it's like, I should just be able to give them everything for free. But I think also like when I sat down with him and kind of had the conversation, he was like, absolutely not. Everyone pays for everything. And if they like it, they're going to pay for it. And whether it's $2 a month or whether it's $100 a month, they will pay what they can afford and what your value is to them. And I think it's like with the podcast, like the podcast, we've just signed it to a bigger deal, but it's still like I just do this for the fun of it. There's like zero at this moment in time. There's zero money in it for me, if you know what I mean. There's nothing. Although now people listen to this, there might be ads coming in now and again, if you know what I mean, just because we've signed a deal. But like realistically, it's still not paying for itself. But it's a really, I think that is the attitude of a lot of artists, is that it's like, I feel grateful that people were even fucking listening to me, and I should just give that to them for free. But then also it's like, well, hang on, they're all earning money doing what they're doing. The people that are listening, like, there's no reason why you shouldn't be earning money.
Yeah, I think it comes down to also like, not, for me, it was definitely like a big insecurity, which is like, am I qualified to be doing this? Like, am I at the level where like I can, charge people to teach them this stuff? And it kind of just goes back to like simple supply and demand. Like if people, they don't have to pay for it. They don't have to get your service if they don't want to. And if they want it, they do. Great. And so it kind of goes down to like breaking your ego a little bit and,
Totally.
or pushing it up from underneath and saying, yeah, I can do this. I can charge my time for this. Same thing with like a DJ set. Sometimes like I'll DJ and I'll be like, like we said before, is like DJing can be so easy. I'm like, I'm getting paid to just, have fun and do this. And it's like, I know there's so much more that goes into it, and getting people in the venue, and, the years of hard work and what your name means to them and stuff. But sometimes I'm like, yeah, this is pretty easy. Like, there's people that are in a construction site hammering some building for an hour, and they're getting paid $15. And, that work is way harder than what I'm doing. So it's the world we live in is kind of fucked up, but that's just kind of how it is.
Well, it's capitalism, isn't it? Right?
It's capitalism. Capitalism, baby.
At its greatest. If you can sell 1,000 tickets, you're worth, at $100 each, you're worth that much money. Like, it's just the facts. If you are working on a construction site, you're worth how much your value is to that building contractor. And it's
or if they can get someone else to do that,
cheaper,
for the same thing.
Exactly.
Replaceability.
But we're all replaceable as well.
Yes, we definitely are replaceable.
Like,
I agree with you.
We are 100, and there's enough space for everybody in the industry, but there's also somebody better than you that can sell more tickets than you in every case.
And I think of it like the NBA kind of. It's like you could be like the top center on this team like right now, but at that moment in time, there are 30 kids that are 5 years younger than you, that are 7 feet tall, that are coming to take your spot in a few years. And it's like, it's like the Tiestos, they're like the LeBrons that have kind of maintained themselves the whole time. And it's like, I think I like that though, because the competitiveness for me, like a lot of people talk about, especially on social media, not comparing and things like that. But I like the competitiveness of the space, because it's like a big motivating factor for me. It's like, if I don't work hard and make things that people can connect to and relate to, it's like, I'll be out of here soon, and I don't want that. So I think it can be a big motivator.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you, but I don't work like that. I think I'm very fucking competitive, but to myself. And there's like a few artists that I'm like, why the fuck are they getting that? Like brutally honest, like why? Like that is not good. But then I also have to take my ego out of it and go, there's demand. So if there's demand, then they're clearly way more demand than me. Then it's a sick. It's not jealousy. It's more like envious, really. But that competitive, but also, I can't compare myself to that person, because I'm not trying to be that person. I'm not trying to make that that music. I'm not trying to do the shows where they're doing the shows. I'm trying to do my own thing. So it's like, I understand what you're saying, the competitiveness, because it's like, I want to be the fucking best in the world, but I can't compete against anybody else. For me, in my view, I can't compete against you. I don't make West End music, like, and I never will, because I could never do it, if you know what I mean.
I agree with you 100% because I think that once you start comparing, that is like the thief of joy, right? And it just makes everything worse, right? Like your art will become worse,
Yeah.
your vibe, everything like that. For me, it's like I know how competitive the landscape is in a sense of that, like, it is a reality. It's like there's this many slots at a festival, right? And
Yes,
you want
totally.
the best for yourself. You
Totally.
want like you know there is a hierarchy to these things. And so I think what you said before about competing against yourself is like knowing that that's the case. And like, if you are the kind of person that really wants to drive yourself, it's like working, improving yourself and
Yeah.
getting, working harder than you did before to reach your goals, so to speak.
Yeah.
And it's, I think it's not like a pretty thing to think about because ideally everyone wins and everyone does everything together and we
Yeah.
all have
Yeah.
space and whatever. But that's just like the unfortunate situation is like, clubs are only open Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
And so there's a limit on who's coming into those clubs and when and all these things. And so I don't know. I think you just need a healthy balance. For me, that's how I like it.
I guess my question to that, though, or my counter to that, is you're 100% right. Like, there are only a certain amount of lineups you can get on. But what if what you're writing musically is never going to get you to that level? As of, I'm not saying for me, for example, but like, if you wanted to be the biggest DJ in the world or the biggest producer, whatever, but you're only writing like super like underground shit, or you're not writing records that like are gonna fit to that sound, do you then go, I have to change my sound and then I have to go and make what everyone else is making? Or do you go, well, I'm just gonna stick to what I'm making and just keep growing and growing and growing? What would you do in that situation? Because like we're in a very commercial situation, right? Like you and I, like kind of sides apart. We're in the same stratosphere of like, we can play festivals and we can do that. And but like for like a new artist coming through, is like they can look at us and go, I want to be doing what Westend or Will Clarke is, or even bigger, like I want to be doing what Fish is, I want to be doing what John Summit is. But like, if they go and make John Summit music, if they go and make Westend music, if they go and make Will Clarke music, if they go and make Fisher music, they're not going to be as big as Fish. They're not going to be as big as John. They're not going to be as big as us. So it's like, how do you kind of balance that?
It's interesting. I think it is the balance always. But it's usually the people that like come to the top aren't the people that are like you just said, like if you want to be playing the peak time slot at the main stage at EDC, right?
Mm.
You're not going to get there by seeing who's doing that now and kind of copying them. I think it's actually more about the people than it is about the music. I think people that are really successful in this industry, it's more about the really, really successful ones. The reason why they're there is the music has to be really, really fucking good, but it's more
Yeah.
about who they are as a person, which is a totally separate conversation and story. But yeah, going back to, I would never make something that I don't like to try to get somewhere because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's just going to feel like icky,
Yeah.
and like it just doesn't for me feel like me, so I think it's like it's all about like the context of like what your space is, right? Like I don't want to be on the main stage of EDC playing to all those people at peak time. Like that's not my personal goals. Like that's not the stage I want to be on. I've been on stages like that in like other settings, and I've been like, oh, I really don't like this at all.
Mm.
I don't like being on festivals that are like super, I mean, it depends, but like very like multi-genre festivals where you feel like the people don't really understand the music.
Yeah.
I hate playing frat parties because it's like I do it a lot, but like the kids don't give a shit about electronic music. They just want to party, right?
Yeah.
So I think there are like cases where you have to just like know what you want. Um, and yeah, a lot of it now is it's less about the music. It's more about how you present yourself. Like take someone like Fred again. Like his music doesn't scream like, if you heard it a few years ago, it doesn't scream like sell out the shrine 3 nights in a row type situation. But
Yeah.
you know, he was able to like really connect with people over the pandemic, and in the way he kind of presented his music
Yeah.
on social media, and it's fucking really good music. Where then now that is the case, you know, someone like Millennium's music, I don't think like it, like to me it doesn't make sense for that kind of like main stage thing, but he has so many fans because he's been doing it so long and kind of got there. So if
Mm.
I had the answer, I feel like that's like the magic question, right? There is no formula to like how you make a really successful act like that, but
There isn't. And
there's
I
not.
think a lot of it's luck,
Huge amount of it is luck.
luck and timing.
Right place, right time.
Yeah.
That's what I think it is.
And
Like for me, like
go on, carry on.
so I was just gonna say quickly, like part of the reason why I think I've had a good year in the last 2 years has been timing. So
Mm.
I've been making like house oriented music for the last like 6 years. Like I used to make stuff. I got into making house music in like 2016. So
Yeah.
I pretty much had like 4 years of like production, making house music, and then tech house, specifically the kind that I make, gets really popular with people
Yeah.
like John and Chris Lake right at this time where I already am like making it. I'm good at making it. I know a lot of people that are doing it,
Yeah.
and got lucky, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I totally agree. It was the same with me with Dirty Bird. Really, like that's how it started. Really, for me. But mine was more like a strategic thing, whereas like I know I need to be part of something, so what do I need to do to be part of it, and then go from there. I I still love the music, but it was just like what do I need to do to get to the next level, if that makes sense.
I think it's interesting. Also, like I think about this is like, if you were to do something that you don't like totally love just
Yeah.
to set yourself up in the music industry financially or like strategically, and then you see a lot of people do this, and then start like a side project where
Mm.
it's like kind of something else. Like every big DJ that is like in the commercial space in the last few years has like some techno side project or
Yeah.
some deep house or something like that, because it's like, you know, once you're kind of financially stable in that sense, then there's less like risk to trying something, even if it doesn't sell. Like, you know, someone like Oliver Heldens, like he super successful as Oliver Heldens, and then he has Hilo, which he's also really successful in because
Super
he's a really good
successful.
producer.
Yeah.
Um, but like I'm sure when Hilo first started, it wasn't, you know, you have to build that
Yeah.
project from the start, kind of. But you already have an advantage because, you know, you have a team around you and you kind of know what to do. So that's something I've definitely thought about. It was like, oh, 5 years from now, would I want to start like a side project for some of my other interests in electronic
Mm.
music? Like the stuff I make now is not like the only stuff I like. Like I
Of
love
course.
a lot of other stuff, but
Yeah.
it just doesn't make sense for me to kind of ADD and like try to do all that at once because it doesn't fit like a nice brand that you can present. So
It's really tough, especially when people don't like change.
yeah, I don't know why they don't like change. They hate
None
change.
of us like change. Like, who is your favorite band when you were a kid? Like, let's say, just say like Linkin Park, right? And then they brought out Hybrid Theory, and then they brought out like Meteora, and then they brought out the fucking most random album ever. And you're like, I know I want another Hybrid Theory. I want another Meteora. Like, I don't want the shit you're giving me now. But then you live with it for a bit longer, and you're like, oh, this is actually a really cool evolution. But like straight away, you don't want that. It's tough.
Yeah, I feel like being able to do that is like a privilege that a lot of artists don't get to or have. Um, Being able to experiment and do something. It's like Drake, for example. Like he puts out that house album, right? I feel like everyone that was like a Drake fan like didn't like it. Like the only people that liked it were like,
Did you
you
like
know,
it?
I like listened to it once through. I don't really like,
So
yeah, I
no.
listened to it once through and I was like, but I don't really like Drake and I don't really listen to non-electronic music that much. So even though that was like an electronic album, I was like, there was some songs I was like, I like it, but I wasn't like, wow, you know?
I like,
Um,
no disrespect to Drake, and like some of the producers involved were fucking great, but like I thought it was weak as shit. Like
I agree. Yeah.
I'm not being horrible, but like this is my opinion, and I'm clearly wrong because he's way more successful than me. So this is just my silly little opinion, but for an artist the level of Drake, like I would my expectations would, in for an electronic album, my expectations would be way higher. Um,
I think that's fair for
yeah,
sure.
like Swedish House Mafia new album, or that came out last year, unbelievable. Like I don't know if you've
I
checked it
actually
out.
didn't listen to that one. No, I haven't listened to like through. I know some of the songs from it.
Fucking
But
unbelievable. And I was like, this is exactly what I did not expect, and it's exactly what I wanted to hear. Like unbelievable. Um, Beyonce's album's okay. It's cool, but it's okay. It's like there's a couple records that I like. But I I'm talking like the likes of like, yeah, you're right. There's not many artists that get to do what they get to do what the fuck they want. Floating Points, it's fucking unbelievable. Like, I don't know. Are you aware of any of his stuff?
I've listened. I know I've listened to a few things on Spotify, and every time, like sometimes it'll show up on like my release radar or something, and I'm like, dude, like this shit is fucking sick. I think he's playing with Fortet at Avant Gardner
Yeah,
this year. I'm definitely gonna go to that
yeah,
because
you
I'm
should
like,
go.
this is my vibe.
It's a good show that they do together. But like, he's won awards for like best jazz album,
Yeah, it's crazy.
and then makes crazy jungle and like, but I. There's not many people that can do that, right? There's not many people that can just like do what the fuck they want. You
It's
need
a
a
luxury, man.
Yeah, you need a lot of support. You need a lot of the right people behind you. You need a good team, and you also need to be really fucking good. It's like to be able to go into the jazz world and then go into the jungle world and the electronic world and be able to do both, and everyone be like, yeah, this dude's fucking great. Like, there's not many people that are that good at everything, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I think like in electronic, I think it's a little bit easier because it's especially with like house music, like it's the worlds are kind of similar enough. Like for example, let's say, I mean, maybe this is not the best example, but like Calvin Harris, um, what is it?
Love Regenerate, yeah.
Love Regenerator, right? Like when that was coming out during the pandemic, I was obsessed. I was like,
Yeah,
this is so fucking sick. And I was like, it's so cool for someone that is known for such commercial music to be doing
totally.
stuff like this.
Yeah.
And so yeah, for me, or another thing I've thought about is like doing like a collaborative project with someone.
Mm,
That's another really great way to like kind of do something that's tangential to what you're currently doing. Like
yeah, I agree.
I saw Claude and like Velvet do Get Real, like when I was coming up, and I was like,
Yeah.
that's so cool. Like two artists get to come together and do that. So, I think having that option as well. But yeah, it's just a luxury, man. Because like right now I'm
Are you
just like
friends with
West
Claude
End, West
again?
End, West End. Uh I haven't I mean, I've never really like been connected with him like on a personal level. Like
Yeah.
hung out a few times at shows. He's signed some of my music to the label.
Yeah.
But we never like bonded or connected. But yeah, everyone always like that Twitter little debacle was like so funny. People were like texting me that day, like, what's going on? And I was like, I don't know, man. Like, I really don't know.
Do you want to just say a bit of context, or do you want to not
Yes,
talk
yes, I'll
about it?
give some context. So I had a tweet that was um it said Dirty Bird from like 2016 to 2019 or something. I forgot the exact dates, but it was such a special era. And I think in one of the replies to it, someone was like, "Oh, what do you think about the stuff that's coming out today?" And I was like, I haven't really like listened much, but or I said something like it doesn't really hit for me like the other stuff does. But like it was like a very kind of just like neutral answer.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think Claude had seen that response and seen my original tweet. And I can't remember the exact words he tweeted. It was really funny, but it was something like Westend, get my label's name out your mouth, you cornball, or something that he didn't say cornball, but like something about me being I wish I could pull it up right now. Kind of like
Shall
just
I
like
try
making
and Google it,
commercial music or something.
or did it
Yeah,
get taken
maybe.
down?
I took a screenshot because like I'm butchering the like what he said and it was kind of important.
West End Claude.
Oh, he did delete it. He did delete it. I know I have it on my phone somewhere because I screenshotted it because I sent it to my managers. I was like, what the fuck's going on? Um, but yeah, basically it was something I can't remember exactly. And then we kind of like went at it a little bit on Twitter. I was like, dude, like you're all about like positivity. All I was saying was that I really like the music from this time from your label. It meant a lot to me.
Yeah.
And I don't know why he kind of had that reaction. To me, I think it was just like a little hot-handed like Twitter kind of thing where you know, he felt maybe that I was kind of dissing what he's doing now.
Yeah.
But really, and it was funny because like on the original tweet, like the Dirty Bird account was like, "We love you," or like put like a heart emoji or something. So I was just like really confused, but he ended up apologizing and he was like, yeah, you're right. Like I shouldn't have been so negative about that. Um, but yeah, we haven't really spoken
I didn't
since.
know
But
he
so,
apologized. Fair play for him for doing that. As long as he
yeah,
apologized, that's
he
all that
apologized
matters.
like within the hour pretty much because I was like, look, you're all about like Dirty Buzz, all about like positivity and love. And like this just seems like a little weird. I spoke to some people about it and like my consensus is that like it's a sore subject for him. I, here's the thing. I don't like talking about this on a public forum because I feel like maybe I don't know what he's thinking, but what I could possibly see is that like there was definitely some falling outs at Dirty Bird, like Justin Martin kind of. I don't really know exactly what happened, but it
Mm.
seemed like left the label in not such a happy state, or left working with them. A lot of like artists that like you would see maybe moved on to do different things. Maybe they weren't as successful on charts and things like that as they have been. I still think the music they put out is great and the artwork and everything, but maybe that I was kind of touching on that a little
Mm-hmm.
bit and it could have been a sore subject. So
I think it was a sore subject, but I don't also think what you said was wrong. So it is what it is.
it's kind of a little bit of a harsh reality, but yeah, I think it was definitely sore. And
I don't
you
know.
know,
I don't mean that for me saying like I don't. I think we're allowed our opinions, and yes, like
Boris.
Twitter is a fucking awful tool. You're the fucking king at it. You love Twitter and you talk a lot of shit. You don't talk shit, but you do talk shit. And I don't mean that in a horrible way. It's like you're good at using Twitter for what Twitter is, and I respect that. Like I fucking respect that. And I think with Dirty Bird, the thing that I've seen from stepping back, like Dirty Bird gave me my career. Like it was a huge part of my career. And in my opinion, like the Dirty Bird before I signed to Dirty Bird was the best years of Dirty Bird because it was the music that I grew up on listening to. Like the very first record that they released was fucking amazing. Justin Martin, like the stuff Justin used to put out in Dirty Bird was unbelievable. And the family that we all had was unbelievable. It was amazing, but it doesn't always last forever, and that's absolutely fine. And I think I've spoken to Barclay many of times, and I wouldn't say anything that I'm not supposed to. But Dirty Bird has gone in and out of fashion multiple times in its lifetime. Chris Lake has gone in and out of fashion multiple times. Tiesto has gone in and out of fashion multiple times. Carl Cox has gone in and out of fashion multiple times. But they come back. And it's whether or not you can notice as the owner of the label or as the artist that's going in and out of fashion. It's whether or not you can look at yourself in the mirror and go, I need to change. I need to evolve to move forward. And if I'm not evolving, then it's going to end eventually. And if I'm happy with it ending, then that's fine. But I think that is a harsh reality that we all have to have with each other. I've had it with myself, yeah, on a much smaller scale. But like on Dirty Bird situation, if you ask me, and I would say this to Barkley, there's things has to change. You have to move forward. You have to bring back what it was about, or find something new of what it's about, and evolve with the times. The times are completely changed since COVID. It's completely changed.
Yeah, I think for me it kind of just goes back to what we were talking about before of like, you always have to adapt, you always have to evolve, and I think you have to love the process of like taking on that challenge, because if you don't love that the challenge in and of itself, then it becomes a problem, because then you're either kind of stuck trying to do something that's not going to work, or you just are indifferent and letting things, it may just die out. I think that the conversation you had with like Mark Knight was like really eye-opening as an artist, of like setting expectations and not always like, because like you always think that like I'm here, but like we're going this way. My camera's cutting off, but we're keep on going up and up and up, and like admitting that maybe like you are here and it's that way now, or even it's that way, and like being okay with that, and like not letting your ego get in the way, it's super weird as an artist to do, because we're always like, oh, there's got to be more, we can't give up now, we gotta so for me, that conversation really kind of like changed perspectives on things a little bit. I'm still very much in, we're going up, baby, like this, we're not stopping this train, but and you're right, the things that stay, things go in and out of fashion all the time, and it's more about you doing you, and slightly tweaking things to kind of get it to get the puzzle to fit the piece, but not really losing who you are. Like I'm sure Carl Cox, he's been doing the same thing for whatever 30 years now, or however long he's been around, and I'm sure he's got a smart team that's able to kind of adapt with the times and stuff, and he's had his ups and downs, but it's you do you, and you do what you're good at, and
and you keep going,
come along, or they
just
won't.
Fucking keep going.
We never stop, baby.
No, you can't.
You don't stop.
Talking of record labels, are we allowed to talk about yours or not?
What record label?
Okay, so we're not.
Oh yeah, we did talk about. No, we are.
Yeah.
I forgot we had a whole phone conversation about this. Sorry, I was opening my blinds a little. It was getting dark in here.
I thought it was getting a bit moody in there, but
yeah, I mean, to be honest, there's not much to talk about at the moment. But for people that are listening, definitely going to be doing a record label this year.
Cool.
Just because, I think it's something I've always wanted to own, and it kind of goes back to what we were talking about before, is like, an additional business within the big business, and especially like creatively, like I think it's hard as an artist, like to really get visual art as a DJ out there without something like that, because a lot of times I sign my music to other people's labels, so I don't really have control over like what I do, a little bit over the art and vibe, but not much, and to like really like own something like that and create a brand. And for me, it's not just like, I don't want whatever my record label to be just be like, here's the music and here's the album artwork. Like I really want it to be something that people can relate to and connect with. So yeah, it's gonna be a big project. It's gonna be a lot of work to do, but I'm really excited to start tackling it.
What's the whole like the whole branding side of things with it? Is like, are you, because I know we spoke about branding and kind of where you wanted to take it, and you might not want to talk about it, which is absolutely fine. We don't need to know names or anything like that, but I guess like, what's your, and I kind of want to know with Westend as the branding behind Westend as well, and like, how do you manage all of that? What's the like creativity behind all of that? What's the process?
Yeah, so for the label right now, it's funny. Like right before we hopped on this call, I was literally talking with people about that. Yeah, I'm really bad at branding. Like it's not my strong suit, and it never has been. Like when I started Westend, So I used to be in like a duo project called C&T.
Okay.
Terrible branding, right? It was just our first letters of each of our names and an
CNT.
and,
Oh,
because
yeah. Wow.
C&T.
Yeah.
Terrible, right? I
Did
saw Walker and
anyone?
Royce. I was like, oh, let's just do that.
Okay. Yeah.
What were you gonna
Okay.
say?
Did anyone? No, don't worry. It's fine. Keep going.
Okay, so like once I left that and I was like, I want to start my own solo project. I needed a name really quickly, and I grew up on Westend Avenue in Manhattan, and I really wanted something with a W because I just like the letter W. It's like very will, right? It's very empowering letter.
Yeah.
And I think I was listening to a lot of Dirty Bird at the time, so like I really like the Worthy's name. Like it was just like nice, short and sweet.
Yeah.
Had a W on it, so I was like, okay, West End, one word, starts with W. Let's go for it. Later, now being like billed on festivals, I regret it so much because I mean, you can relate. We're at the fucking last line on the bottom.
I think there's two good things to be, A or W.
The front and the bottom, yeah.
Because
in your middle, no one can see it.
No one fucking knows you if you're a fucking G.
But what if it's like a lineup where it's like clearly tiered out, so it's very visible, but you're just like the last one? Then it's like, it's better to be A. A is definitely the best.
A is the best. Any artist that want to start a name, just fucking be A or a number. 999 always wins. 99s always wins.
Well, wouldn't one be better? Or no?
One would be better.
Or 0. So start your name with 0. But
no, because then you're gonna start with a Z or a Z, as you guys say.
No, but the numerical 0.
The numerical, and then put like a Z in it, and then you're like
exclamation point. Start with a character. that pizza. We're like going through like the code of like what comes first alphabetically.
Fuck. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I started West End, and there was no like idea or concept to it. Like, a lot of like artists, like let's say like Marshmello, that's like the most branded artist I can think of, right? You're literally, it's a play on like a food. You wear a helmet, you wear all white, everything kind of like makes sense with like the music. For me, like I didn't think of any of that stuff. I was just like, I'm making music. This is my name. I'm gonna make whatever music I want. Blah blah blah. So I've never really had like a very clear artistic or visual brand, or even like a concept to play off of.
Yeah.
Which I used to get like insecure about because I was like, oh, it'd be so cool to wear a ski mask and do this, and like it sells more tickets and blah blah blah. And I've kind of accepted the point that it's like I am just myself, and that's who 100%. I put out in the world, and that's my brand, right? This is me. So yeah, that's kind of like the West End stuff. And for the label, this is where I'm like, I can actually have some fun with this and like create a concept that I wasn't able to do before.
Yeah.
And I have no idea what I'm going to do. I got to figure it out.
So you still like not there yet?
No. Because like we talked before the holiday break, and I've just kind of been on holiday.
Yeah.
And the good thing is that I have a lot of time on my hands, so I really can like flesh it out. But there's some things that are playing in my mind. I don't want to ruin anything or potentially jinx it. So, but it's going to be fun. It's going to be, visually really engaging. Like that's super important to me.
Yeah.
I want like merch to make sense, and it's gonna be a good time. But it's all still in my head.
Don't rush it, man, because it's like for my label, it took me a year to get to where I knew where I wanted it to be. Even just the name took so long.
It's hard, yeah,
so long. And it's like, for me, it was like, I don't want it to be anything to do with Will Clarke, because I want it to be able to stand on its own 2 feet. I don't want it to be like related to my name, because what if my name goes down at some point and then the label's still there? Like the label still needs to carry on. So
did you think about like, I mean, obviously you did, because I remember, when some of the first artwork, very clock oriented and like time oriented, and I'm not going to put words in your mouth, but it's like being in the present and stuff. So you really thought of that whole concept out before you.
Oh mate, a year. It took us a year. It was like a year of hashing out, and then it was then, I think it was like just after the summer of 2019. I was trying to work out all the name of, like, I didn't have a fucking clue with the name, and I had like a mood board of everything that I kind of wanted to kind of get across in the brand, and there was a neon sign that said "All we have is now," and it would just always, I would always go back to that, and I was like, branding wise, this is a really shit name because it's a fucking long name.
It's a lot of words.
It's a lot of words, but like the sentiment behind it is exactly what I want to kind of get across to people. So yeah, I just decided on that, and then from then on, it kind of was like, okay, all we have is now. Clock, kind of hand, and then we created a logo, but it looked kind of similar to something that Chris Lake had done,
the black book thing or whatever.
Yeah, but so Chris did an artwork with like him holding. It was like a hand. It was like an old artwork. It wasn't necessarily black. It was like an old one, and I sent it to him. I was like, "Is this a bit close to you?" And he's like, "It's not." But I was like, "I have to. It is too close. If I'm asking him, it's too close. Like I can't do it." So it was like, okay, how do we then move away from that? Because I wanted to completely move away from like everything that I was kind of related to a certain extent. Like I had left Dirty Bird already. It was like my sound was going more European kind of, I guess, I don't like to say it, but more techno. But like, so it was like, and then I had created this sound where I needed to kind of completely separate myself from everybody else in all kind of associations. So it's like, it can't look like anything else. It can't relate to anything else. It has to be just completely its own thing. And then it took us like 3 months to get the branding on point. And then when we got the branding on point, like, I still hate the original artworks of the records. Like now, like we didn't nail it at the time, but
did you like them at the time?
If I truly ask myself, not 100%. I liked them, but I wasn't 100%.
I think what you said about like showing Chris that example is like very relatable for me, because I think a lot of times like it's a small space that we're in for the most part, right? And it's so easy to get influenced by what other people are doing, not just in like a branding thing, but just like musically kind of. And even if you don't mean to do it, sometimes things like subconsciously get in there and then express themselves. And you have to be like, oh, wait, this is not really, you know, this is too close to this. But you didn't, like, the frustrating thing is like, you didn't even like mean to do it. It's like, for me, it's like, I'm almost trying to take inspiration like completely outside of like the electronic music scene, or at least the house scene, because it's like, I don't even want any doubt in my mind that something is close to something else or something like that.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
Then it'll eat me up forever.
We're kind of in the process. Well, probably by the time this comes out, maybe like some of it would have been put out, but we're going through like a rebrand of like Will Clarke.
Is this the photo shoot you just did?
One of them, yeah. yeah. That fucking photo shoot.
I love that outfit, man.
Sick, right? I'll send you some of the photos like, when they were done, but yeah.
It's spaceman vibes.
Yeah. But for me, it's like, okay, when we go to like the creative agency and I'm like, okay, what are the influence of Will Clarke that's completely not electronic music, completely not even music? It's like, what do I want to be perceived as that's got nothing to do with music? And then that will be the most authentic thing to me, because it's like just what I love. It's what I like to look at. It's what I like. If that could be Will Clarke on the wall in that magazine, that's what it would look like. And that's how it's taken me ages to get there, though. It's taken me ages to work that out. It's
super hard. And yeah, like I saw, I don't know if you follow SG Lewis on Instagram, but
I don't.
He recently did. We hung out at Holy Ship, super nice guy.
Yeah.
Both found out that we love like fishing together, which was like super random. And he did something recently on Instagram, which was like a collab with like Nokia or something. It was like some like flip phone kind of thing, but basically like it was like him going fishing and kind of talking about like the flip side. Like this is like I like to play all these shows and make all this music, and like the
Mm,
flip side is like I kind of go fishing. And I was like, the way they executed this video,
yeah.
um, it's so clean and perfect. And like a concept like that for me, when I would think about that in my head for like, because I'm a huge fisherman, I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
I could never like find a way to like tell that story. Like I always like, oh, that's so random from electronic music. Like, how do you
Mm,
create like something that could like involve that really?
yeah.
And just like seeing someone do something like that, I'm like, wow, these professionals really know how to take something like a concept and make it kind of work
Yeah.
and make the imagery work. And it's a skill in and of itself. Like you said, like if you had like this aesthetic, they're like, this is Will, this
Yeah.
is like what I'm like, is like getting that into something that you can like present to people.
Hmm.
That's like the really hard part. But yeah, I'm super excited to like kind of go down that rabbit hole
I
and
think
figure that
I
out and
think it
ask
goes
those questions.
I think it goes back to what we were saying right at the beginning with different businesses in the industry, right? It's like you like fishing. That's you. Like that's truly you as whether you want to share that or not on social media or to your fans, it's still you. And if you can bring that into something that adds to your brand, it adds to your brand. And I think it's very hard to do, but if it's executed correctly, it's fucking amazing. And it actually widens you as a human being and as an artist on like another level. Like for me, some of the biggest artists in the world, or not necessarily the biggest artists in the world, but some of the artists that I respect the most is like Action Bronson. He's like was overweight, fat dude eating, doing "Fuck Me It's Delicious" on. I don't know if you know Action Bronson.
I love Action Bronson.
Yeah,
He's from Queens,
from
which is like
Queens.
where I live
Yeah.
now. So yeah.
So like he did the food show. He's the rapper. He's art, like he paints. He's now this crazy fucking fitness dude. Like it's everything, and he does everything really well. And I think that's the thing is like if you can do as many things that you're passionate about really well, and you have a team that can kind of bring everything together in a way that it makes sense for everybody, you're literally laughing because you have endless supply of business because you can just do what the fuck you want.
Yeah, I think the thing for me that's like not the counter, but like the scary thing about that is like then do you have to be like, I guess you don't have to, but it's like, do you have to then show your all yourself to everyone, because it's like that guy, it's like at this point, like if you're a fan of Action Bronson, it's not really about the music, it's just like I'm a fan of this person
Mm-hmm.
kind of. I think like Fish is another great example, is like he's just like a one of a kind like human and a
Yeah.
Fisher. And
Yeah.
most people that are fans of Fisher, they probably love his music, but they probably love him
Yeah.
even more. And yeah, it's all about like telling that story and getting that out there. But I think in this industry, it's so easy to, like we said, like to just box it up into,
Yep.
here's that Spotify link, here's
Yep.
that video of me at the show. And there are DJs and artists that do that, and I see them like kind of suffer on social media, especially like with the way the algorithms work today, is
Yeah.
like they just don't really show themselves, and I feel like I don't really know who they are.
Yeah.
I know what their music sounds like, I know what the back of their head looks like at shows, and I know, maybe a little bit, but it's like people want to know like who you are and what you like, and just getting that out there can
Yeah.
be, you know, the best tool to kind of grow and as an artist and grow your business.
I agree. I think it's like it's changed. Times have changed compared to what it used to be, right? It used to be like the artist is like the sacred person, right? Social media just completely wiped all of that. Like the only way you could find out about an artist was like an interview or a magazine, like an interview on TV or like early YouTube days or a magazine interview. Like that's the only way you could find out anything about people, right? Now you can DM your biggest hit. I could go DM Beyonce right now. Wild.
Flex, baby.
Wild. No, everyone could, if you know what I mean. And that's the
Yeah.
thing, is like the accessibility. So it's like you can have people want to know you more personable, and it's like everyone's time's valuable. So for them to invest time into you, sometimes they need a little bit more back.
I think it's when I think about that, I also think about like there are some super successful artists today, especially in the more underground and like techno world, that still are kind of like the enigma a little bit, and that plays into their brand.
Totally.
I remember I was like, I wonder what Solomon sounds like. Like I've never like heard him like speak.
Yeah.
So like I went on YouTube and like watched some interviews, and I was like, oh, this guy actually like did speak to someone at some point. But like you'll never see like Solomon like on like his Instagram story, like, yo guys, what's up? Like, that doesn't
he's DJing. He's too busy DJing.
Exactly. But like or like Tale of Us, for example, like those guys would never do anything like that. But their brand is so strong, both visually and like creatively, that it kind of like you don't need that. Like it's just it's a vibe. So I think there's like the nice thing is that there's many ways to do it. If you are like, if you don't want to talk to anyone ever, like you don't have to. Like there's tons of artists that like don't do anything like that. But yeah, I got like such a flashback when you were talking about like YouTube interviews, because I just remembered being like a fan in like 2000, like 11, 12, 13, and just like all my favorite artists at the time, just like watching any interview I could find on YouTube, and just, being not like obsessed with them, but just like any little story. Oh, that's so cool the way they said that, or something like that. It's like, it's definitely a phenomena to it.
Resident Advisor used to do amazing kind of mini documentaries. And there was one on the Martinez brothers that I literally probably watched 20 times. Like, it was just like,
wow.
Yeah, it's so just like unbelievably well done. Yeah,
I love electronic music documentaries and stuff.
Same.
Like I need to like watch some more, but yeah, like I feel like Pete Tong's done really good ones, and like telling stories like that.
Have you seen Paris is Burning?
I have not.
I'll send it to you. It's great.
It's a documentary or no?
Yeah, it's a documentary, and I'll send you a couple on. They're like old ones. But
what's that movie? There's like isn't there a movie that's kind of about like house music and like raving? It's like a British movie. It's like kind of old.
Trainspotting.
Maybe. I'm really bad with like some classic movies, so
yeah,
is
that
it or no?
It's about rave culture. There's quite a few movies though, but Trainspotting was probably the most famous like film that was like,
I've never seen it.
About
is that
British rave culture and like drug taking and raves and shit like that.
Is it a must watch?
It's not. This is controversial, but it's not actually my favorite. But it's good. It's culturally, it's a cult film. But is it my favorite? No.
What was that one with Zac Efron? It was like about like 128 BPM or whatever.
I don't know, but I didn't watch that. You definitely watched that, didn't you?
I didn't, but I just remember I have like some artist friends that Musique was like featured, and they got like a nice little paycheck from that. I think Dom Dalla had one of his songs in that movie with Go Freak. It was like,
did he really?
I forgot which one it was. Yeah. But like that came out in like that was about like EDM.
Yeah.
Real like 2014 EDM. But I feel like someone should do a movie. I don't know. I feel like now I like what the scene's going on now, but I feel like it's not cool enough to like have a movie about it.
I think that's cool. There's cool parts of the scene though. I think, like, did you ever see the Swedish House Mafia documentary?
Is that recent or the old one?
No, it's
like
old one.
Before they.
It's like when
I think I saw like bits and pieces of it or something.
Like that was for me that was cool. Like I've watched like the Billie Eilish documentary like a million times. I love that girl. But like
I've seen that.
And like the Ed Sheeran.
Did you remix her?
A couple times, but they weren't.
Was that bootleg?
They weren't official. We got clearance from them to put it out as like a free download, but they were like, we're just not putting remixes out. She'd kind of gone to the stratosphere already by then, sadly.
Yeah. That's my new thing, is doing bootleg remixes and just putting them out on SoundCloud.
Yeah.
There's a big revival for that right now. Actually, like a lot of the stuff I'm playing in my sets is just coming from like little Irish producers and shit that are making bootlegs. I don't know why these Irish kids make really good SoundCloud bootlegs.
Because there's fuck all to do in Ireland. and they
Yeah, they're
literally just party and make music. It's this thing. It's like it's the extremes of Great Britain, or not even just Northern Ireland, the United Kingdom and Ireland. Like Scotland's the same. Like the dark depths of Scotland at the top. There's no fuck all to do, and it's pretty depressing. So it's like, what do you do to escape that? You party really hard and you listen to fucking hard dance music.
That it's always like it has a very uplifting like
Yeah,
feel to it, which I'm like, oh, that doesn't really make sense for. I mean, I've never been to Ireland or
it's
Scotland,
beautiful.
but
It's beautiful. But
I need to go.
There's not much to go. There's not much to do there really, and especially if you live in the country. Yeah,
you're gonna piss off a lot of Irish listeners right
No,
now.
I don't think so. Fuck it. It's the truth. I love Ireland. It's beautiful. I love Scotland, but like, yeah, I think that's why it creates so many good artists, because it's like the rave culture, their scene is very, very small, and they support their own massively. So and like that's more north of the UK as well. So if you have like, I spoke about it. Who did I speak about it with? Oh, I spoke about it with Shaq, who the episode's out when this comes out, but I had Shaq on.
Oh, I thought you meant Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah, no. That would be amazing if I had him on the podcast. But like,
I think you can.
I don't know. I guess he's a dubstep DJ now, isn't he?
Bro, you say that and like it's like impossible, but like that it is. I could see that clearly happening.
That would be hilarious.
He is a dubstep DJ, but
yeah, that would be amazing, dude. It's getting guests on this podcast is way harder than people think. I
just texted you. I was like, "Yo, can I get on the podcast?" You're like, "Sure." Are you free next week? I'm like, "Let's do it."
It was easy, but like, it's so hard, especially like the super big guys. It's like, no, why do I need to do that? It's like,
yeah. I can kind of not relate, but like I feel like in this industry, there can often be an overwhelming amount of requests to do something where if you don't know about it or you're not really like familiar with it, you could be like, oh, it's just like someone trying to harass me or something. It's just Will Clarke harassing me, but
exactly. But nobody knows who I am. Like, there's only a certain amount of people that know who I am, right? So it's like, and then also there's people that know who I am that like are still like, well, I'm bigger than him and I don't want to look like
it's such a weird complex, right? Like I can't work with someone that I'm bigger with. I sometimes suffer that myself, and I have to check myself and be like, that's such a stupid thing to think about. Like, it's collaborating or anything.
There's some
it's weird. It's weird.
There's some artists that are like kind of my friends that just won't come on because of that.
That's weird.
It's weird. But
do you use other guests that you've had in the past, like let's say like big industry people or artists? Do you like when you send an email out to someone that you're trying to get, do you say like we've had XYZ kind of to kind of give it some more credibility?
To a certain extent. Yeah. If we're doing like cold calling, yeah. But a lot of it is just like me just DMing people and just being like, yo, do you want to do it? It's just like also schedules. A lot of the bigger guys have crazy schedules. So like we're trying to get Nicole Mudabar on, and like she wants to do it, but it's like her schedule's mental. And then it's got to fit in with mine.
Touring all the time.
Yeah. And so it's like there's a lot of people that it just takes way longer. And I think obviously like we have a relationship. Like it's just a bit more chill. Like some people, it has to be a bigger thing than what it actually is. It's not that. It's just a long conversation. That's all it is.
Yeah, we had 0 talking points going into this.
No, I don't have any talking points to do with anyone.
You never do that.
Never.
Interesting.
Never.
See, I would get scared that I would either run into a situation. I feel like I'm decent at conversing, but I would always get nervous that like I would not be able to get like the right things out of them or run into like a stop kind of where
the podcast that happens. They're short. They're like 45. They're like 45 minutes. Like it's the fact is that sometimes people can't talk, and that's absolutely fine. Like it's cool.
Yeah.
And it's not like getting mad about it. It's just some people just can't make a conversation. There's one podcast that like I did with somebody, and I didn't really know him, but we'd worked together. I don't want to say his name because the podcast was actually really good, but it took like 45 minutes for him to like actually conversate back. It was almost like I was asking questions that I was just trying to come up with off my head, and it would be like a yes and no answer rather than being like actually going into detail on I'd have to go like, oh, can you tell me more about that? Like it's just like, I think people think podcast is an interview. It's like, this isn't really an interview. Like, this is just a chat between two people and like getting to know each other and kind of also having the outsider point of view that somebody also listens to this. So what might they want to know?
It's definitely a skill getting people to respond in a certain way and get those kind of nuggets of wisdom or whatever it is out of them.
And getting people
I think
to be
you do
like,
a great
honest.
job of it, Will.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. You're the 151st episode. So,
woo.
Yeah.
How many original Pokemon are there? Are there 150?
I've never collected Pokemon.
That explains a lot, to be honest.
Yeah. I had a life.
Yeah, you're an outcast, man. You're not part of mainstream media.
How many Pokemon?
Original Pokemon. Original. Though now there's probably like a 900.
There's 1,008. How many original Pokemon?
I still play Pokemon sometimes.
On your phone? Mate, how did you know that?
Nintendo Switch.
You definitely play way more Pokemon than you're letting on to.
Is it 151? It's the ring light. Oh, because that's like whenever I hear the number 151, I think Pokemon. Like it's just kind of wired in my brain.
Yeah, that's weird, but I'll allow it. Do you know what the 151st Pokemon is?
Of course.
Who? You're definitely.
All right, it's one of two.
Are you Googling?
I may get it wrong. No, I'm not. Hands up. I'm gonna go with Mew, but it could be Mewtwo, but I think it's Mew.
And what's Mew's type?
Psychic, easy.
Jesus, son.
Bro, I know the type of every single of the original Pokemon, probably.
Are you single?
No, I'm not single. I kicked my girlfriend out to do this this podcast.
I thought you'd be single.
So it's getting all dark in here.
Mate,
I gotta let her back in. I think she's outside the door.
Is she out the door? No. We've just done an hour and 45 minutes. Let's wrap this up.
Yes.
Couple of things. How can people listen to your music and follow you?
Yeah, so on all socials, it should be It's the Westend, ITS the Westend. It's really hard to get at Westend. I'm trying to, but it's just too common of a name. So yeah, It's the Westend everywhere. And yeah, check out my SoundCloud. I've been putting out some free bootlegs there. If you're a DJ and you want some extra ammo for your sets, Spotify. Other than that, I don't know where else. Apple Music, wherever you listen to your music,
wherever. And also, how can people sign up to your school thing?
My Discord, yeah. So www.kick-bass.com. That's our website, and there's a couple different kind of subscription levels you can join there. If you want to just like watch some videos, we also upload a lot of the tutorials onto our YouTube channel. It's Kick and Bass, and I have some stuff as well on my personal channel, which is just Westend on YouTube. So yeah,
amazing. Thanks so much for coming on, man. Keep safe. See you soon.
Thank you, Will.
Peace.
We'll talk soon.
Cheers, mate. And that is a wrap. Big love to everybody for listening. Thanks for coming on, Mr. Westend. It was good. And please share. Please send it to your mates. Share it with your family. Share it with whoever you want. Keep safe. Till next time.